Bearcat Bounce Podcast, back at it again. That's right. It's a huge day. If you are a Bearcat fan of any kind, whether it be you're fresh into the football program, you like following what Luke Fickell has done on campus, or whether it's been you're a long time basketball fan. This past week and today in particular has been a great time for the Bearcats. That's why it's the BBP. No better time for the BBP. That means it's time to bring in my sidekicks, good pals, guys who are in better settings for a podcast than I am today. Aaron Smith and Chad Brendel. Aaron, Chad, gentlemen, I think it's safe to say, how are we?
We're doing good. Let's get moving. We got a lot to get to. Let's go. Let's go.
Aaron.
I mean, I think Chad said it all. Perfect.
Well, guys, I think all you got to say is we got him. Yet again, the UC recruiting site puts out that beautiful video with all the highlights, with that beautiful music in the background. We got him is the premise of it. And that's right. Corey Keiner coming home. LSU, one season. Great. Second leading rusher on the team. SEC, great. Budding freshman. Had a great spring practice for them. Springtime with them. But no, now he releases it this morning that he's entering into the transfer portal. Come 6 o'clock, there it is. I'm coming home. Guys, come on. Initial remarks. Chad, I know you've been on the radio a couple of times over there, giving your thoughts into it, just fresh. But, wow, sprinkle some knowledge and some excitement onto the BCJ faithful here on the BBP.
It's huge. You've got Brent is at the airport, by the way. Spirit Airlines did him good. Canceled his flight last night. He's got to catch a flight today. But anyhow, it's a great addition. You solidified that running back room. You've made things easier on whichever quarterback wins the job. You bring home another hometown hero. Everything you can ask for, you get out of this commitment, and it's a huge boost of momentum at the end of the spring, and it's a very good day to be a Cincinnati Bearcat.
Aaron, initial, just take it away.
I mean, what more can be said than bringing a kid from Cincinnati back home to Cincinnati, 3 years of eligibility left, and there was so much hoopla around if we could potentially bring in Keiner and Prater and have both guys there in the backfield, and now we have a chance to do just that. So I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, those videos of those two guys together talking about the future, this, that, and the other is just awesome. So like you said, I can't wait to see what we can bring as both of them potentially in the backfield together. Guys, we could dive into this for an hour right now.
We're gonna,
but it's time to bring in someone special. But before we do that, what's not broken right now? This locomotive's not broken. But if your car's a little run down, if you decide to drive down to Florida instead of fly, and you need to get some repairs done, head over to Danco Transmissions. Special thank you to Danco. Head there, BCJ, BBP, drop it in, get a little $10 off for oil change. Get your oil change where you head down so you can avoid the mumbo jumbo that I've been through, which means that we bring in the man, the myth, my guy, Brady Collins. Brady, my man. Spring is in the books. How are we?
How we doing, boys? Doing great, man. Doing real good.
Golly. Well,
are you having a good day?
I was going to say, yeah.
Having a great day. Every day is a great day, But
some days are a little greater than others, though.
Some days just, bring you a little more sunshine and joy. And, maybe today's one of those days.
I love it.
Let's talk about spring practice. It was a great way to finish up. The spring game was awesome. Aaron and I were in there in attendance. Chad was remote elsewhere, but man, that atmosphere inside of that building, the former players there to take it all in, Luke getting the Dodd Trophy, just all of that encompassing within itself. Just an awesome, awesome Saturday for the Bearcats.
Yeah, it really was. And I think, something that really stood out to me, and it's been, prevalent this whole spring, but, and you just said it, was all the former guys, that are getting ready to go be drafted here in the next 2 weeks. They were all back. And, they've been in
for 2 weeks since the pro day. They've all been, and even before that, they've all been around.
I mean, Ahmad Gardner came back, 3 weeks before like his before the combine, and was training back at home and just being around, and but then it's just been ever since all those guys went to the combine before pro day and even after pro day. All those guys, man, they love this place, and I think that just speaks testament to everything we've done in our time here and what we built and what we're continuing to build and enhance. But obviously the spring scrimmage / game, whatever you want to call it, inside the bubble, that went obviously really good. A lot of competitiveness on both sides of the ball, and obviously we came out clean, no injuries, which is huge for moving forward. We had a great clean spring. But to me, that's just, that just stands out. And again, even from my time at Ohio State and Mississippi State, you just didn't see that many guys just kind of still, be around and want to be around, and not just to be around to be like, hey, here I am. Like, no, they're still coaching up our guys, and, they have just as much love and investment in the program right now than they did when they were, wearing the uniform. So that's what really makes me proud and really cool to see. But it was a great finish to the spring, even though that day wasn't the last day of it. But it went just as well as you could hope for.
Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
I was just going to say, can you dive a little bit more into what you saw out of the guys who were returning and just kind of some of the things that you saw them doing with the guys that are coming back as students?
Yeah, I think the first thing that really stands out to me is obviously, competition brings out the best in everybody. So, no doubt you've seen improvements from everybody across the board. But, Evan does stand out, just, a lot of competition in that room, which only brings out the best in each other, which has been great to see. And having someone, with all the experience and history that Ben Bryant has, that's been, a blessing to have in the program as well. But, when I
think what he was saying, real quick, I think what he was saying, Brady, was like how Dez has impacted talking to those two guys, as he's hung around, how Sauce has impacted that cornerback room.
Oh, okay. No,
being around. We'll get to that. We'll get to the player stuff. We gotta get to the outside stuff first.
You guys get me excited. You know how I get going.
We do.
No, I think that's huge. It really is, because to the outside world, everybody sees Desmond Ridder as, you turn on every channel, ESPN, NFL Network, you pull up your phone, it's on Twitter. Like, Dez's name is like the hot thing right now. Well, he hasn't been that. He's always been the hot thing for us, but like he's always been that from the day he walked in, and he's just enhanced it every single year. So, to us and inside our program, he's still the same old, incredible young man and leader, and yes, great football player that he is. But, what he's about to do here in the next few weeks, and, what he's done since, the season ended in the playoffs, it hasn't changed who he is. He's still humble. He's still a great human being. All those guys, Ahmad, Beavers, Joe DeBlanco, Kobe Bryant, Curtis Brooks. Those guys, they want to be around the program because they invested so much into it. They gave so much to it. And, we gave some to them. And, for all those guys that are on our roster currently, they look up to those guys. And, to be able to be out at practice, for a short time, because, a year from now, you're not going to have Desmond Ridder out at practice all the time. He's going to have his own things that he's doing. But to just be able to bounce a few things off him, and he could tell you some things here and there, and then just just looking over there and seeing your good friend and brother that you've gone to war with for a long time, it provides value that, I can't even begin to talk about.
Now,
how cool has it been, real quick, Brent, how cool has it been seeing NFL Network, ESPN, like everybody, the Bearcats have basically been front and center every day with, Sauce taking up top 10 conversation and Dez being in the conversation for top quarterback. And now there's a lot of chatter of maybe Alec Pierce sneaking into the first round. It seems like every day there's a new Bearcat talking point. Like, how cool has that been to watch? And how big is that for the program that you're getting this essentially month-long commercial for, if you want to do it, it can absolutely be done in Cincinnati?
Yeah, no, it's everything you set out to do. when you take over a program. I mean, obviously, when we got here, we said the first thing we want to play for championships, and we've played for 3 straight, won 2 straight. And, ultimately that's our goal every single year. But it all starts, way before that, building the team inside the locker room, the way you train, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And, but I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's awesome. I think Ahmad shot a commercial for like Bose headphones the other day, like in the weight room. And you're like, dude, this is awesome. Not because, you want to see Bose headphones and all that. I mean, no disrespect, I love Bose headphones, but it's like, hey, make sure you get the CPAW in the background because you want to keep pumping that out. And it is. I mean, it's really cool. I mean, even this morning when I got into work, I always turn on my TV in my office, and I pulled up the NFL Network, and there they were. They were talking about Dez at like 6 a.m. in the morning. And I was just like, man, this is, it's awesome. And, I know it's a big recruiting thing, obviously, but, it just kind of goes to show you. And even though in the past there's been, players that have gone on to the NFL and had good careers and are still currently having good careers, it just shows you come here, you're going to get coached the right way by the best. You're going to get developed better than anybody in the country. And you're going to be put in a position to obviously win a lot of games and get a lot of recognition more as a team. And then all the individual comes. But, everything you want to do can be done right here at the University of Cincinnati. And, obviously we're going to continue to, set high expectations and keep pushing the standards. But it is, when I think about it, it's so cool to just turn on all the TVs and you see that. And, you get the text from your buddies and your brothers and all that. And, it's just a tremendous amount of pride that I take.
One of the things that I really liked as the draft inches closer is that a lot of the analysts you see will say, after diving into further tape on Jerome Ford, we saw this. After dissecting Brian Cook a little bit more, we saw he didn't give up a passing touchdown last year either. As you continue to dive further into each player, you see some things that you might have missed when, without first glance and from whatnot from there. So my question is this, and I want you to dive into the story and how this came about. Was the current team had 2 more practices after the spring game, like you said. So will Jabari Taylor have a little bit of a side note on his report saying not only is he a great defensive lineman, but, he could be a substitute kicker if something rises?
I think that's just a testament to Jabari, man. He's a man of many wondrous traits. And, that was actually a shocker to see him do that. I mean, he's a guy, he can do backflips, he can do cartwheels, he can do all that kind of stuff. Obviously, he's so twitchy, he's explosive, he's strong as hell. But I think more so than anything about a guy like Jabari is his leadership, his work ethic, his love that he has for, not only this team, but everybody in his D-line room. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that was a shock to see, but also not too surprising if you know Jabari.
I mean, like, how did that come about? It looked like they had a little meeting on the field about what the black team and the white team, and they said, all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
pick a kicker.
I guess Coach Hitchler thought he could kick field goals. And as we, found out very fast, he cannot kick field goals. But I think it's just, just what we always do, competitiveness and creativity, energy, all those things. And, at the heat of the moment, hey, it's a tie game. We could keep kicking field goals left and right, but you know what? Let's have a little fun. Let's mix things up. Who thinks they can make a field goal? And then Jabari steps up, bangs it in, black team wins.
Talk more about singular players, maybe 1 or 2, a handful if you want, that have kind of, as spring began, you were like, okay, I want to really keep an eye on this guy. Not really his performance on the field, that as well, but more how he's going about every day, how he's tackling every day, like you guys say, with a competitive mindset. And then, kind of who's caught your eye and really drawing your attention, and you say, wow, he's taking what we taught him in the weight room and he's pushing it even further.
You said start off with senior guys?
No, just a handful. 1 or 2.
A handful?
Anyone.
I mean, I'm looking at a guy like Trey Tucker, who's going to be a senior and has done so much, for this program in the weight room, on the football field, in academics. I mean, he's the epitome of everything that we do. But you got, a young kind of core behind him and Tyler, who, Tyler started last year. Mike Young's gone, Alec Pierce is gone. Jaheen Thompson, who's ready to kind of step up and fill some holes there. A Nick Mardner who transfers in, Blue Smith who's coming on, and the Chris Scotts, the Drew Donleys, the Will Paulings, just a bunch of great dudes. I kind of just watch him to see, how did his leadership step up? And, that was really impressive for me to see. I think he's still just scratching the surface of that. I'm looking at the tight end room, obviously, with, your top tight end in next year's draft, Josh Wiley, rehabbing on the side, but ready to rock and roll. And we're just holding him out to be safe. You're getting Lenny T, his good reps. You're getting Shimon Mateer, who's out there just, taking it all in and getting better. But I look up front at the O-line because, again, you had Renfro, out. You had Metz kind of getting a little bit here and there. So, you got some plug-and-play guys. You're kind of moving things around. You got a new coach and just been really pleased with, Coach Cummings and everything that he's brought to the program and just a real tenacity up front. And, can't wait to see how that continues through the summer and camp. But, guys that have really stepped out and just, kind of jumped out to me. Number one, is Jaheen Thomas. I was talking with my staff the other day. I was like, hey, as this thing keeps rolling and yeah, we're, we've always recruited at a high level. I mean, best class in the conference every year. But, Jaheen is exactly what we pride ourselves on. Jaheen came in, he was skinny, he was athletic, but he wasn't as strong, which a lot of kids aren't out of high school. And, all he did was put his head down and grind and, followed the lead of so many great people in front of him. Joel DeBlanco, Darian Beavers. Now he's got Will Huber, who's still here, right there on his side. So, he steps out to me as a guy that's really elevated his game and really changed his body and his mind, his work ethic, all those things. Ty Van Fossen, had a great spring. And I think that just kind of stands out more because he wasn't, rotating with Deshaun Pace, but just, as a whole in the spring, all you're looking to do is continue to build your team because, again, it's going to be so different. No matter if three of the guys that are going to the draft were back, like your team is different every single year. So, getting those guys to carry the standard and, everything that we do. I don't want to call out Mornay, but I am. I'm going to be biased. I think as a whole, I'm just really, really proud. But in closing one area, I would definitely say is the kicking game. It's been a nice little addition right there.
So some of the guys that Chad and I talked about as the standouts, if you will, or MVPs for offense, defense, some of the names that came up were, I think Chad had said Will Huber for defense. I think I went with Jabari. And then for offense, I said, I think we both agreed it was Shimon. Is there anybody else you would add to that conversation, though, as you've had a little bit different view?
Yeah, those are guys that definitely stand out. I think Eric Phillips has done a really good job on the D line there.
For sure.
With Malik rehabbing his ankle, and he's all fine now and he's ready to rock and roll. But, you look at a guy like Eric that his body weight's kind of done this. We get him to
skinny.
260.
Is he too skinny now?
He's 250. He needs to be 260, 265. He has to do it.
Is he got a tapeworm? Seriously, is he got a tapeworm? Are you sure?
No, he just doesn't eat and, wants to look good for the ladies, I'm guessing. But, he's going to put on good, lean, 10 to 15 more pounds of muscle. And that's only going to make him stronger and more faster and explosive and be able to handle 300 plus, pound O-lineman. But he really did a great job this spring. All the running backs did a great job. But yeah, you hit the nail on you hit the head on the nail right there. All those guys, they for sure had great springs and, stand out and really, really pleased with all of them.
Well, Phillips has had a domino effect too, where we've gotten to see some flashes of one Rob Jackson running with the twos. So what can you tell us about that kid and just his work ethic and what you've seen both on the field and in the weight room?
Yeah, I love young Rob, or Roberto, as I like to call him. Again, just a kid that is so raw You know, I mean,
Yeah.
big time basketball player in high school, played a little bit of football. And then, you know, we found him and we found a gem. And I think he's just getting better every single day. You know, the more coaching he gets, the better he's going to get. And, you know, luckily he's got Jabari up there, you know, putting him under his wing and really driving the culture and standards of how he trains and practices and takes care of his body, all those things. But, you know, I joke all the time, you don't get too many 6'5", 75 pounders coming in the door
He's a
looking
freak.
like he did. And, you know, yeah, we'll fine tune him. And obviously now he's up to 285 and he's a lot more bigger and stronger and faster. And it's like, those are fun. And, you know, the Ahmad Gardners of the world are fun too when they come in skinnier than hell. And, you know, you just beat them up and put on good weight and train them. And then all of a sudden, you know, but yeah,
If I had to do
pleased with Rob.
If I had to do a most improved from start to finish, I think it would be Rob, because he was at the beginning of spring practice still, I think, kind of feeling his way. And by the end of spring practice, he was making plays and that confidence was going up. And you can start to see it clicking with him where he's like, I can be pretty good at this. Like all of a sudden he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, you know, confidence is everything. You know, you can't go out there timid. You can't go out there overthinking. And that's, you know, that's what's going to happen 90% of the times is kids are afraid to make a mistake. Well, you can't be that way, especially on defense. You just got to go. You know, if you mess up going as hard as you can. I guarantee you're going to cause some type of disruption. And especially up front, you know, I mean, coming in, whether you're a freshman or a sophomore, I mean, it is very, very rare that you get a guy that's ready to rock and roll because, I mean, let's face it, that's where the dirtiest of work is done. Every single down, every single snap, every single quarter. I mean, you're physically trying to impose your will on another 260 to 330 pound human being. So, you know, for a guy like Rob, who did come in very raw, very athletic, and has just put in the work and continuing to get better. And then all of a sudden you see, you know, the rewards of that, where you do start to make some plays and feel good about yourself. Well, good. Now we hang our hat on that and we keep it going. We push it because, you know, like I said, he should be a physical, dominant human being. So, you know, that'll be up to us to continue to push that. And then he'll keep getting coached. And, you know, I think the sky's the limit for him.
A lot like Rob and like Jaheen, I said in my little article post spring game, I was like, that he's my number one buy stock now guy. Just, man, the way he's just flying all over the field is a sight to see. But when it comes to just, you know, being in the program and buying into the culture and then improving yourself to your best ability, those guys have had a couple years for Jaheen, you know, a year for Rob. But some players have only had 2 weeks, a month, 2 months with you guys to really hone in and get that locked in. I want to first start with the new transfers that came in. Then we can talk about those early enrollee freshmen. But, you know, just talk about some of the things you've seen out of like an Ivan Pace and the amount of production and the amount of growth that Nick Marner has made, and, you know, D'Artagnan Tinsley and Ryan Coe. You mentioned the kicking game already a little bit. Just kind of what you've seen out of them since when they first hit the weight room to now at the end of spring.
Yeah, I think all of those guys came in with the right mindset. You know, it's hard when you're starting a new journey anywhere, but I think, you know, what really, you know, I pride myself on is our locker room obviously is really close. The culture, the standard is set. Guys withhold it. They set it every single day. So, you know, all those guys, when they came in, they didn't try to have, you know, the big chest, look at me, I'm a transfer from so-and-so, or I'm coming in to do this, do that. They kept their mouth shut. They worked. They listened. They were coachable, and, you know, they absorbed everything around them. They were, you know, osmosis, if that's even a word, into the program, and that's a testament to all of our guys. You know, but, you know, with Ryan Coe, you just see, you know, just so much. You know, I'm gonna say it like swagger. He has swag, and he's got confidence, and the kid's a good kid, and he trains hard, and, you know, I think he's.
Did you ever think you'd be saying a kicker had swag, though? I mean,
no, I definitely did not. But he does. And again, you know, the Mason Fletchers and Bryce Burton and Kason Pfeiffer's in his room, the older guys that have played, and even though Fletch is only, you know, going to be a sophomore, you know, they did a good job of really putting their arm around him and bringing him along. Nick Marner coming in, never trained like we do ever in his life, never probably even thought of it, but just continued to put in the work, gotten better. Now he's a guy that he's like, Coach, give me more. And, again, then he gets on the practice field to see us how hard we practice, how you take care of your body, all those things. Again, he's going to be night and day at fall camp. Ivan, obviously know him from, back in the days. And, he's got his brother here, which is huge, but just a thick, obviously real thick, but explosive, powerful, strong, quick twitched, great young kid, great young man. And, again, just brushing the surface of his potential. And, it's just going to continue to be a great evolution of, their bodies, their hearts, their minds as we get going in the summer and then in the fall camp.
Let's get down to it. Quarterback. It was a well-fought spring, I think, for both of them. I think both showed a lot of the competition has been high level, I guess is what I'm getting at. And I've been really impressed with how much we've seen. Maybe this day Evan was better. And the next day, here comes Ben. And then the next day, here comes Evan. And it really has been like a 15 practices, 15 rounds. I like how that works out. Like a 15-round heavyweight fight that these kids had throughout the spring. And I feel a lot better about the future of the quarterback position than I did at the start of spring. And I felt pretty good about it at the start of spring. I was just really impressed with the way both kids attacked the situation.
Yeah. And again, I think, what a lot of people don't realize is, Evan and Ben had a year together.
Yeah.
So, those guys, they know each other. But at the same time, they also had a year apart. And, Ben went to Eastern Michigan, got a lot of games and experience under his belt. And Evan stayed and continued to get, groomed and developed by us here. And, had another year with Dez. But, the thing that just, like I kind of briefly touched on is just the competition aspect. It's what you want. I mean, it's what you want in any facet of life. Like, if you want to be the best, you need to be pushed by the best. And the only way to make yourself the best is if others around you are pushing you to be that way. Well, we're so fortunate that we have two guys fighting for the job that also, were here at some point in time, or more so in time, with one of the greatest football players and quarterbacks to ever do it, who really set the standard. And, but again, like you said, yeah, if one day one guy was better, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, I have no idea if one day this guy was better or not. I've just been extremely pleased and proud of both of them. They're both, a little different, got a little unique leadership style to each of them. They both have their own, personal swag to them. But just so pleased because, you could tell, I mean, a guy like Evan is, not night and day, but just so much better. Well, why is that? Well, yeah, he's been in the program. He's stronger. He's faster. He's accustomed to here and there. And then you got a little competition nipping at your butt. That helps. Ben Bryant coming in with experience and obviously, one of our guys from the get-go. Now he's back. He loves it here. This is his home. It's just, it makes our whole team better. And it's hard too, because, those guys are going ones and twos, maybe every other series or this and that. So it's hard to get a, pure evaluation, but at the end of the day, let's face it, you feel really, really good about both of those guys, and can't wait to see it continue through the summer and training camp.
So if quarterback is one position where obviously Dez is out, going to go represent the program in the biggest way possible, but now the other position would probably be cornerback, would be where you shift your gears to as well. About two players that are now heading into the NFL, going to be big-time NFL players at the next level as well. So what has been your point of view, just looking at that cornerback room, Arquan stepping into more of a leadership role, JQ being that guy that, one of my favorite pictures is the picture of Sauce, mano a mano with JQ, just teaching him. And, it goes back to what you were saying about these past players coming back and being more teachers than anything else. But what's been kind of your view of that cornerback room as it's slowly developing as roles are becoming defined just throughout spring?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, before the players, and just no disrespect, I love Coach Perry Iliano, but having Coach Combs here, and I know I've said it before. I mean, whew, it's special. I mean, it's so special. I mean, he's one of the best I've ever gotten, to work with. Right behind Coach Vic, and just his love, his passion of the players, that feeds into the game. But he's just, what he's done with those guys in his short time. Again, I might know a little more than the outside world, but I just know how much that means to those kids and what it's going to do through them through the summer and fall camp and beyond. But, been really, really pleased with all those guys. I mean, again, everybody knows it. Yeah, there's huge shoes to fill. But, at the same time, we're not trying to replace Ahmad Gardner with another Ahmad Gardner. You can't. You just can't. You're never going to be able to replace a Kobe Bryant. I'm sorry, you're not. So getting those kids to understand it's their turn. Everybody's going to compete. They're going to battle it out. They're going to be the best version of themselves for the team. Been pleased. I mean, you got Todd Bumphus out there. You got a young JQ who's really taken off. I mean, I was joking with him today. He came into my office. I was like, man, imagine if you didn't come in early. I was like, think about how hard camp would be. He goes, damn, you're right. So that helps him out big time. Sammy Anderson is a guy that I think is really on the up. Just attacking everything that he's doing and really buying into everything Coach Combs is, all about. Jaquan Shepard stepping up, Justin Harris coming back from his, scary incident from the season, getting him healthy, providing value. The two young guys, Kalen Carroll, Ken Willis, everybody is just stepping up and, standing out. And that's what you want. That's the evolution of a program. That's what good coaching is guys getting better, guys making improvements, not only just in the weight room. That's going to happen. Otherwise I shouldn't be here, but on the football field where it's more importantly, which obviously transfers to life.
Ken Willis has got a little toughness to him. I've seen a couple times this spring him come up and put a hat on somebody.
Again, this is going into year 6 here. They say that's the West Side factor. So,
yep.
Those
West Side guys like to hit a little bit.
They do. And, bless young Ken, man. I mean, he's tiny, but he's bigger than what he got here. And he's only going to continue to get bigger, but he does. He's got the want, he's got the love, he's got the passion, and he's going to be a great player.
Don't mess with those Colerain guys. Don't ever doubt them.
So you brought up having Coach Combs back, but there's been obviously a lot of new coaches added to the staff this season, and you've had a little bit more time since the last time we asked you about the impressions that you had with some of these coaches. But what's it been like with guys like, maybe Mike Cummings or Nate Letton or a James Ross, a Walter Stewart? Because I'll be honest, I think Walt had probably the most energy on the sidelines during the spring game out of anybody, and that shocked the hell out of me because I was expecting it to be Gary.
Are you sure you want to put your name on that? You want to tell Coach Combs that?
I don't. Well, and I don't know where Coach Combs was, so he may have been on the offensive side, and we were on the defensive side. So I don't know where he was, if he was with the special teams or if he was with the defensive side. But at least on the defensive side, I saw Walt having the most energy over there.
No, that's great. Yeah, and again, Coach Cummings, coming in, it has, man. It's been a huge addition. Just his passion, the way he coaches, the way he teaches,
kind of guys he wants.
The standard that he sets for those guys up front. I mean, let's face it, we pride ourselves on being an O-line and D-line driven program. And it's not the prettiest of positions. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be hard. But, I think he's just come in. And like I said, I kind of hit on a little bit earlier prematurely. He's made everybody better. And, that's scary because, we got a bunch of dudes up front now that are just nipping at the butt to take over. And, as I've gotten to know him more, I mean, I just really, value his, his work ethic, his vision, the way he teaches and coaches, all those things. So it's going to, just continue to get better with him. Coach Stu, great dude. Great dude. I mean, I love chopping it up with him. A lot of it is, old war stories from when he used to work out and stuff like that. He was on the losing team of the spring kick scrimmage, so he had to run the stadium. And that was the first time he did that in a very, very long time. So, we were talking about that, talking about some old stories.
There's a new rule on that, right? Nobody over 50 has to do the stairs, right?
Well, over 40, you get to cut over halfway.
Okay.
You get to cut over halfway.
It almost ended bad one year. I won't say for who.
It could have. And just so people know out there, Coach Vic, him and I, we ran the stadium that morning. So, before the kick scrimmage. So, again, we're always going to be on the winning side. We never lose. We just win. But, we ran the stadium that morning and, we crushed it. But he's doing a great job. I think the guys are really vibing with him and really appreciating him. You never want to say it, but I do. I think him being a former Bearcat, gives him a little extra juice to him, right? I mean, it means a hell of a lot to him deep down.
Sure.
And Coach Ross,
he's a fun guy.
He is great dude. Coach Ross, I think he got here. I don't even know, a week, 2 weeks ago. I mean, it's been so fast.
Yeah.
And he's just, he's catching up with everything and getting accustomed to everything. But he's doing a great job as well. And can't wait to see the progression of him as we get going.
Is Fick still coaching Jaheen, like, personally?
Let me tell you something. It's not safe for any linebacker on our team. I'll just say that. Okay. I was joking with my guys about that the other day. I'm like, I stand behind the offense when we're practicing and everything, and you'll just see Fick all the time, like, Jaheen, this way, or like, Huber, this way. It just, I mean, it's innate in him. I mean, he can't help it, man. And that's what makes our defense so special. Is he's always going to be there. He's always going to be helping guys, but yet at the same time, he's invested in the offense and making sure everybody's good over there. And he's a player's coach, man. Dude's dude.
Go back to those stadium runs, man. Because I tell you what, you're walking up that damn stadium steps. Whew, sometimes you get to the top and you're like, man, I'll be sweating by the time I get up to the press box. So that's an impressive feat right there, Brady. Good for you.
It is the best time I've ever had. Now, again, we start on the bottom, you go up, you cross over, and then you come down, right? So the whole lower bowl, the best time I ever did was 7 minutes and 1 second.
That's fast.
It's very fast. Now, here's my secret. I come down fast, right? I mean, I come down flying because, your legs are already sore. What's the point of going down slow? And if you're trying to beat your time, you got to go down fast. So that's my thing. But the other day on the kick scrimmage, I think I did it in like 9 minutes and 28 seconds. I wasn't trying to break any records. I was just doing it for the boys.
Who would be the favorite in a 3-person Nippert stairs race? Brady Collins, Luke Fickle, Amy Fickle. I've seen Amy do the stairs. She moves.
She does move. She does. I'm gonna go with myself all day, every day. I'm sorry.
Let's go.
That's the confidence. That's just I know what I can bring to the table.
Clip it. Clip it. Make sure Amy sees it.
I mean, I'm sure
She's
Amy
just
would love.
She's just as competitive as her husband. It's just she keeps it a little quiet.
Yeah, no, I know. But no, I mean, I'm always down for a challenge. Always down.
You ever done the hot yoga with her?
No, I have not. But she does teach a bar class now.
Yeah.
So that's the new challenge that has been presented to me, is to join Coach Fick in a bar class with her. And I said, that's fine. I'll do it. I don't care.
You never bid it coming down the stairs in these races?
No, because when we run them as a team, again, it's a staple of what we do in the summer. We run 7 of them, right? We'll run 7 up and down the same. So, the O-line, they have this row. The D-line has this row. Running backs have this row. Every unit has their own row. And we run 7 for a reason, right? You're guaranteed 6 home games. Well, 7's the conference championship game. And we know we're going to win every game in NIP. It means something to us. It's special. It's sacred ground. Nobody's going to beat us on our home turf. 27 straight, no big deal. So we time it every single week, and you got to beat your time every week. So, has there been chances where guys almost bit it? Of course. But, again, they do a great job, and they know that safety is number one. So.
Well, Brady, I have to ask you this one. What's next? Spring practice wrapped up. Not even sure what the next move is for the team and everyone involved. So what's next for you now that spring did wrap up, and what kind of are you giving for the team to continue their conditioning and everything until the summer fires up?
Yeah, I mean, this is finals week, so guys are wrapping up all their finals, making sure we finish strong academically, which we always do a great job of that. But they're going to have a good 2 to 3 weeks off. If they're around, if they're in town, the weight room's open. They could come in, get a lift on their own, do whatever they need to do. For me, my staff, we're in like we were all in today. Tomorrow we'll be in here and there. If guys got stuff, they'll be, taking care of family stuff or whatever they got to do. But it's just all about resetting, recharging. And, even today I had to kind of give myself a break because I really dove into like everything in the summer, like workout groups and workouts and this and that. And, my head's always spinning. I got, books of notes, and it was like, all right, I need a little break. I don't need to dive into it right away. But, at the end of the day, I kind of do because, as one page turns, the next one is waiting there for you. And, I'm just as excited as the kids are to get going. But at the end of the day, they need a little break from us. And no doubt I need a break from them. But, it's a good time to just kind of reset, recharge, and, have a little different kind of hours. And, we have our strength conference coming up the first week of May. That's always good to go. So my guys and I will go to that. But other than that, it's just, every day getting things ready to rock and roll for when we start in the summer.
Have you, I'm assuming every year you set up your own goals for what you want to do that year, but are those goals ever evolving for you and your staff? Are they things that you sit down and revise like week after week, or is that something that after a segment of say after spring football, then you reevaluate your goals? Or is it how do you set your goals for yourself over the course of the year?
I mean, the ultimate goal obviously is to win. Not trying to be cocky or anything like that, but let's face it, that's what matters.
Sure.
But I think I pride myself and my staff. We never set individual goals for the guys. Hey, Jaheen, you need to be benching this. You need to be squatting this. You can't do that. Because I'm not gonna lie to you. Even as the head strength coach, I'm gonna tell you right now, nobody gives a shit. They don't. You know what I mean? All that matters is that you're healthy and that you play the game really, really well, and that you're durable and you can do it for the whole season. And, so when I fine tune it, the goals obviously are to be better than what we were last year. Well, how do you do that? Okay. You lost a lot of guys. Okay. Yeah. Everybody can say what they want. Okay. You got a lot of guys that are going to make names for themselves. It's still about the team, right? How close can we make this team? And, you go back to everything you've done in the past. And, again, I pride myself. We don't just copy and paste and do what we did in 2018 or 19 or 20 or 21. Everything's always evolving. And, I always say we're in a state of perpetual development. I say this to recruits. I say this to the team, which means, 24/7, 365 days a year, we're trying to develop something, whether it's your heart, your mind, your body, your soul. And if I say that, but I'm not living that, and I'm not trying to get better as a coach, then I'm going to be lying and I'm not going to be better. So, you're looking for, today I challenged my staff. I said, hey, no idea is a bad idea. Give me new ideas on, exercises, new ideas on rep schemes, new equipment, new organization, new flow. Just everything, right? Because, I value their opinion more than anything, and they might bring something new to the table that will be benefit to this team and, further down the line. But, the goals stay the same, win a championship. So what do I have to do? What do we have to do as a staff to put our team in the best position to win championships? We got to train hard as shit. That's what we hang our hat on. We're We're tough. We're nasty. It doesn't have to be pretty. That's what we're going to do. We're going to be the closest team in the country. We don't do anything individually. Everything's done together. And then, we got to be healthy. We got to keep our bodies fresh, our hearts, our minds, all that stuff. And, we got to go put our guys in position to play the game that they love and have fun doing it.
You have to keep evolving, because if you don't keep evolving, then you'll watch a video from someplace else and see a bunch of guys at another place doing the same things that you did 3-4 years ago.
Yeah. It's funny how things happen like that, right? I mean, I guarantee you, who knows? I mean, this summer, I don't know. They'll probably call it bar on the back fest. It'll be bar on the back fest. Hey, it is what it is.
Sometimes you see bouncy houses at places that have never done anything like that before. When it was a Brady Collins thing, 4 years ago.
Yeah, no big deal.
I'm just saying.
No big deal.
Like imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right?
Absolutely.
So's holding that L in your home stadium with red everywhere.
Can never take that back, my friends. Can never take that back.
Ever.
That should be a framed picture in everybody's household.
Brady, how often do you fly? Without
fly?
the team. Yeah, without the team.
You mean like travel?
Yeah, travel. Because I tell you what, this airport is bonkers right now. I'm like in a twilight zone.
A couple weeks ago, my whole family, we were getting ready to fly out to San Antonio for my uncle who passed in January. They had a big celebration of life, and it was like the morning of. We're getting all these emails like delayed, and we're like, we can't take the kids, to the airport and be delayed all day for one day in San Antonio and then fly back. Like, it was going to be like 3 days of travel for one day, and so I went by myself. And, flew out of CVG, flew to Denver, and then flew to San Antonio. So it was a long day, but it was fun. Put my headphones in, watch a movie, all that. A lot of people watching. But I don't travel that much besides, when it's time for games.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because it's tough to podcast in an airport, but you know what? Today was a special day. Every day having you on the pod, got to make sure the BVP keeps rolling. So no doubt I'd be pulling out. No, oh baby, we are grinding. Aaron, Chad, anything else for Brady? I think we've kept him longer, and I mean, shoot, we can go another 30 with Brady if he wants. But
we do have a couple questions that we can address from the mailbag here.
Yeah, take it away, Aaron.
No problem. So, just want to make sure I get the phrasing right on some of these questions. First question. Welcome to the offseason BCJ mailbag. Here are the 3 questions to start. This is how the guy actually phrased his question. Please guess who bench presses and who leg presses more between the Rake and Ryan Coe.
I'm going to go with Ryan Coe. He's obviously a little bit thicker, but the Rake is doing really well. He's on a great plan and going to continue to up all of his numbers.
This came up in our conversation last week, I think. Can we still call him the Rake? Because he has put on some weight since last season. But
he has. I think that's just a nickname that's going to stick until he really just tilts it and is 250.
All right, I'm totally good with that.
He agreed with me, for the record.
The Rake did?
No, Brady. I said the Rake stays. Like, you're the Rake. That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. And then also, they wanted to know what Brady thought about what's going to happen more this year: a punt resulting in a touchback or more field goals missed.
A punt resulting in a touchback or more field goals missed. A punt resulting in a touchback, even though that won't happen.
All right. And then what's going to happen more? UC punting inside the 5 or a 50-plus field goal made by UC?
Oh, man. we know Co's got the leg to do it.
Sure does.
But I'd still have to say I'm going to go with the rake, punt inside the 5. I mean, that guy's automatic and has only gotten better. And obviously, there's no better gunners than what we have here. So I'm going to go with more punts inside the 5. But I mean, let's face it, we're going to break some records this year on some field goals.
Are you sorry about the wait? You're okay.
All right, that was Brent's waitress apparently. I'm going to ask Brady this one. In your mind, what is the best NFL situation for Dez to walk into and have success? As a Bengals fan, I hate it, but I think Pittsburgh might give him the best chance to grow into a very good NFL quarterback.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, great organization. Not going to ask too much of you and come in and save the franchise, nothing like that. But what's the best NFL situation for Dez? Anyone that takes him, because let's face it, that'll be the best situation for that team. Getting a guy like Dez of his caliber, not just what he does on the field, but everything off. I think the Steelers, that's a good one to watch. And but again, anybody that gets that guy, trust me, it's going to be more of a bonus for them than it is for him.
Are we gonna save this later for us, or are we gonna answer this now?
I mean, we can answer it now while it's here. I don't want to have to hit the mailbag again.
The answer is unfortunately the Steelers, because there's organizational stability there, where Tomlin has never finished under 500. They go to the playoffs essentially every year, and look at what they did with Ben. Ben was far from a polished product when he became the starting quarterback of the Steelers. And they leaned on their defense, and they leaned on their running game, and they let Ben develop. And then Ben turned into a Hall of Fame quarterback because he was allowed to progress at an adequate pace. As much as it pains me, because I hate that franchise to the core of my being,
Same.
and I know Brady does too, and Aaron does too. But if you're talking about a franchise that does it right, and that's what you want for all of these guys, is to find a play. Like, I'm terrified for Sauce that he's going to end up with the Jets. It is what it is. That's a terribly ran organization.
Yeah.
But if Dez ends up with the Steelers, you know what I'm confident in? Dez will be outstanding with the Steelers.
He'll win.
Because they'll handle it right. Like, the Falcons, I have some trust in. New Orleans, I have some trust in. Carolina, another name I've seen.
Detroit.
Detroit, they've never been good. Like that. So I hate to say it. It's like pulling a knife out of my chest saying it. But if he went to the Steelers, I'm more confident that he's going to be successful than just about anywhere else in the NFL. That just is what it is.
I'm still hopeful it's one of those wild card teams like the Colts, like the Titans, like New Orleans, maybe even like Miami pulls something crazy where they're like, we hate Tua, and they go after a Dez. I think that might be fun, but
I'm not gonna lie, I would love nothing more for the Titans to pull the trigger on him, because hey,
oh boy,
he thrived under Coach Vic. Go thrive under his brother, Coach Vrabel.
Fair enough.
Did I tell you what Vrabel said to me that day? He was here for Pro Day.
Huh.
I asked him if him and Vic were going to wrestle, and he said, I don't wrestle, I fight. And he just left it at that. I said, are you and Vic getting on the mat? He said, I don't wrestle, I fight. Like, okay.
He'd also cut his dick off to win a Super Bowl, so whatever, you know. What is Brady's favorite part of the offseason and why? Winter workouts, spring ball, higher ground, etc.
Man, that's tough. I mean, they're all awesome, obviously. The winter is, kind of special because, like I said, your team is reborn or born, during that time. You got guys leaving, new guys coming in, all that stuff. Spring ball's good. Summer's great too, because you got so much more time and it's a big build up. The end site or the end game is, playing football games on Saturday. Higher Ground's obviously unbelievable because of just the hospitality, the food, the treatment, all that stuff. But I would give a niche to maybe winter workouts just because of, building the team off of what you just did and, kind of revamping everything up.
Okay.
What do you like more? What do you like more? Skyline chili or crawfish?
Crawfish.
Oh, that's not the answer today, Brady.
I'm sorry. I do though. Crawfish is delicious. Skyline chili is good too. But if I'm, hey, nothing wrong with some good crawfish. You got to be down south to get it though.
Sometimes you have to come home for Skyline chili.
That's true. It's true.
Or maybe you can bring home some crawfish with you when you come back home for some Skyline chili.
Or maybe Skyline Chili says, hey, we're going to make a new crawfish chili dog.
Ooh.
I don't know what I would. That sounds terrible.
I'm in. A little etouffee from Skyline. I'm in.
That's right.
Some of the questions from the chat here, as those are, I think, the only questions really directed your way from the mailbag, Brady. Any chance we see another jersey helmet throwback game in the foreseeable future?
Oh boy, I have no idea.
And
maybe.
And then also, what's your favorite dish at Higher Ground?
Oh man,
Monterey Jack chicken sandwiches.
Man, it's a good one.
Yeah, that's good.
I heard the taco bar is fantastic.
Taco bar's good. You know what? Their fish is really good. They do the catfish. They do a fried catfish. That's
right. I have had that once. It is very good.
Yeah.
What about the smoothie bar?
Oh, that's always awesome. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on. And it's not just smoothies; it's milkshakes as well.
Brady, the question I wanted to ask though was when it came to the Ryan Coe, Mason Flesher question. What's your angle for kickers? Do they kind of go off to themselves and work on more specified training pieces, or because like you said, Coe, that guy, it's hard to miss not seeing that boot that he has, and then he's got a great frame on the rest of his body. What's kind of your game plan with kickers and punters when they come in?
I was even talking to him today, and it's like, hey man, I'm like, I just want you healthy. I want you feeling great every single day. I'm like, we're going to train the shit out of you, going to build you, get you stronger, all that stuff. But if back squatting bothers you or this exercise bothers you, I'm like, you can let us know because, I want to take care of you. And trust me, there's not just this way to do something. We have a plethora of, accessories and machines, or we're all very smart and we know what we're doing. We can do a ton of things. And he was like, no, I'm good, coach. I want to do everything. And I love that because that's what we pride ourselves on. If you come into a workout and you look around the room, everybody's doing everything. Now maybe someone needs to be modified or they got to do this a little bit differently. No big deal. They're still training hard. They're still getting after it. But no, we treat those guys just like we do anybody else. But, again, if need be, if any modifications need to be made, we'll take care of them.
Because I'm not sure that we're going to talk again before the NFL draft 2 Thursdays from now. How many Bearcats are getting their name called in 7 rounds?
In 7?
In 7.
9.
9? Okay.
I agree.
I also agree, especially with how much publicity has been around. Curtis Brooks' name is everywhere right now, rounding out that list, and I love it.
I think massive snub from the combine.
2 in the first.
I agree. Round. Sauce and Dez go in the first.
Yep.
And Alec isn't far behind.
Nope.
No.
And then Darian Beavers is the guy that I feel has not really had much mention outside of past the combine and the pro day. I feel like he's going to be one that might sneak into an upper round as well.
Kobe stands out too.
Cook, it's unfortunate he hasn't been able to do anything like that.
Yeah.
I think at some point that's going to impact some of his positioning a little bit not because I think he's going to slide, but because I think if he would have worked out and been able to be Brian Cook, he would have risen substantially.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I was talking with Ahmad Jerome Ford and Michael Young today when they were working out. And I was just like, I mean, it's funny. It's a business, right? Like everybody wants you to fall. They want you to slide because they want that value to get you. And then they have more value to get someone else. Like,
Right.
And it's just, again, yeah, for sure. 9 guys, 2 guys in the first round.
Okay. Anything else you fellas got?
Nope, I'm good.
No, just Brady Collins, the man. Phenomenal.
He was fired up when I hit him with the text today. Like he was waiting for me to text to be on the show tonight.
Because we told him,
Yeah.
we told him when we saw him at the spring game we were going to do this tonight. So yeah.
Well, I wasn't there. I didn't know.
I told you. I even called and told you after the fact. Come on, man.
And then of course,
I had a lot going on.
we're like, Brady,
Touché.
when are you coming on? He's like, I don't know, maybe this week, maybe next week, maybe every week. And I said, all right, lock in the every week then. Let's go.
I just hugged him, and then I forgot everything else that happened after that.
I know I don't get
back.
Go ahead.
You'll be back after the draft for sure. That Monday, right?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that fingernail good? Is it tasty?
It does. And I don't bite my nails anymore. I just trim them. I mean, I've done a good job.
Do you put that little nail polish on it? That's what people do?
It puts the lotion on the skin.
Okay. Well, fair. Okay, yeah.
All right. I don't know that we can do any more after that, but on that note.
Awesome, Brady. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. Sorry if there was any background noise here, but man, it's every day is a great day to be a Bearcat, man. So you joined us on another good one. So thanks for coming on, man, and we'll let you go. Have a great night and have a nice little break, like you said. Good time to break and reconnect. So we'll see you soon.
All right, man. Safe travels to you, Aaron, Chad. Talk to you boys soon, man.
Appreciate you, Brady.
Love you, brother. See you soon.
All right. See you,
See you, Brady. Peace. Well, he's a goat.
There we go.
Yeah, he's a goat.
I mentioned that to Lance McAllister today. Said, how many podcasts get the strength and conditioning coach on like once, twice a month? And the answer is none. None of them have that access. None.
No. Right.
0. The answer is 1. This one.
Well, because think about it. A lot of the times it's probably the head man saying, what are you doing? Like why did you go on this or that? But when the head man's behind it like that, and then of course when Brady's the man that he is, makes it pretty doggone easy. So that's awesome.
And there's a timestamp for you.
Yep.
Brought to you by none other than our good friends at Urban Artifact. And I'm trying to find the Urban Artifact read. What do you got there, Aaron?
I went with the gadget. It's a raspberry and blackberry Midwest fruit tart.
I've got nothing, but I'll still cheers you.
You're at an airport.
Yeah,
you should have something.
No, so get this. I went to the restaurant where my girlfriend's at right now, and that's where it was like loud and like they were playing, like Mexican music in the background, and then all of a sudden it was like, this is a little bit too loud, and then I was all the way down to 1 bar on my phone, so I was like, all right, this isn't gonna work. So too much to her dismay, I had to peel off and go back to where there's pretty solid connection and keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Well, if you're curious to explore what lies beyond standard craft beer, take a trip to Urban Artifact. They don't make beer, they make fruit tarts. Come see what the world of real fruit has to offer. Swing by Urban Artifact's Northside Tap Room. Mention Bearcat Journal. Get $2 off a flight of 4 tasters. And Chelsea says Gadget is GOAT.
I've been waiting on this one because it is my favorite of the pack that they sent. I know I'm on record saying that Key Lime Ghost is my favorite. That still stands true, but this one's legit.
Is it raspberry and what?
Raspberry and blackberry Midwest fruit tart.
Sounds pretty delightful.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of delightful,
Yeah,
should we get back onto the Corey Keiner train?
Yeah, let's do this.
So, enters his name into the portal. Obviously, there was some smoke on the board leading up to it, but as his name entered the portal, obviously the smoke became ablaze, and as Chad has been able to mention throughout the day, this one went fast. It was it was something where the ball got rolling and kind of a snowball effect. Before you know it, one of the best running back recruits in the country, is heading to Cincinnati after one season at LSU. Obviously, the coaching change at LSU has a lot more to do with it than I mean, obviously it has a little bit to do with it. I mean, and then you throw in the fact that on top of it, Corey Keiner was down to UC and LSU for the most part and did end up becoming a Tiger. Coaching change there, and seems like the gift that keeps on giving for Bearcat fans. And Keiner's back, man. It's a huge day, huge commitment. And in addition to a room that we thought had some good promise to it, but you add a piece like Corey Keiner, and it takes it to a whole new level.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just when it came down to Cincinnati and LSU as his last two choices before he eventually would choose LSU, I think that there was always a hope in the fan base here that one day we would still see him suiting up in the red and black. And it kind of became a perfect storm here with Jerome hopping and going to the NFL draft, with the Bearcats heading into the Big 12, with LSU having the coaching change and losing the coach that recruited Corey to go to LSU, with potentially Evan Prater with the mock-ups they had of Evan handing Corey the ball and
from their recruitment. Yeah.
Right. Now we get to see potentially should Evan win the job or have a start at some point, we may get to see them both in the backfield. And we still get 3 years of Corey as opposed to, 2 or 1 if he were to come back later on in his career. So I'm excited. I don't know, just to get another Mr. Ohio here, as it's generally Ohio State who's the only one banging that drum. I don't know, just I think it's super exciting for this team.
You're getting a guy that knows how to operate between the tackles in an offense that they like to run inside zone. They like to pound the ball and wear defenses down and just make you pay over 4 quarters. And what he had almost a 40% broken tackle rate at LSU his freshman year. It's a guy that was able to get on the field as a true freshman at LSU. He wasn't the starter, he was the backup, but 75, almost 100 carries, almost 400 yards. If you can do that as a true freshman in the SEC, you're big time. Like that, I don't think there's any other way to put it. Like you're in a different stratosphere. There's a reason he was a 4-star recruit. To the people that were questioning things today on the board, get out of here. What is wrong with you? To look at this kid and not be 100% certain that this is a good thing for the program. Is he going to have to? Are they going to hand him the starting job when he comes in? No, absolutely not. He's going to have to compete just like everybody else in this program has to compete for everything. But the running back room got significantly better today. Significantly better. That is the job of a staff in recruiting, especially in the era of the transfer portal. If you are going to go into the portal, do everything possible to make yourself significantly better. And Cincinnati got better today.
These are his stats as I have pulled up from sportsreference.com. But yeah, to go on to what you were saying, it is 11 games, 79 attempts, 324 yards, 4.1 average, 2 touchdowns, 2 catches, 10 yards, 5 per, 81 total plays. And then he also returned the ball for kick and punt returns. He had 2 returns, both kick returns, 36 yards, 18 average. So.
Well, and on top of it, you've got to remember, this is an LSU team that is not the same, NCAA winners or going to compete for the college football playoff every single year type situation that he was thrust into. It was a one that had some chaos with the coaching staff, one that
Yeah,
had.
but the chaos wasn't talent. Like talent
Oh
was
no,
not the
no,
problem.
no. I'm
You know what I'm
just saying.
saying?
Yeah, no. But I'm saying it's more of like I see what you're saying on the board, and different people saying, well, this, that, and the other about you're adding Corey Keiner, where if he would have committed out of high school, it would have been the same craze and lore as when Evan Prater committed, and when any big local talent in basketball commits. Like it's massive, and like you said, when it comes to the transfer portal, when it comes to this time in college sports, you got to be able to build relationships and then somehow be able to keep that relationship, or at least keep your end of the bargain up, where you are showing that you are a high level program. And when the opportunity does present itself via the portal, then you can attack and you can say, hey, remember us? Of course he remembers you. Come on home and let's keep this thing rolling. So, I mean, it's a massive, massive day. But Chad, I want to ask you if you could peel back the curtain a little bit, not too much, but kind of just how you were able to slowly find out about this possibly in the works, and when you saw him enter his name to the portal today, and everything from there, from your point of view.
I mean, I can't get into a ton, obviously,
Right.
but it started with Mick, and Mick started hearing some rumblings in the middle of last week that this was something that might be happening, that the portal was something that might be being considered here. And I worked in conjunction with Mick. Mick was working his contacts in the recruiting world, and kind of continued to hear smoke growing and becoming more prominent. And then by the time we got to late last week into the weekend, it felt like there was a pretty good chance that he was going into the portal with his personal intention of coming home. I don't think there was much thought given to anything but, if I'm going into the portal, I want to come home to Cincinnati. Now, if you're Cincinnati, you get nervous, like his name goes in the portal. All right, things are going to blow up. Everybody's going to start calling. Everybody's gonna want to jump in on this one because of his talent level and what he was able to show as a freshman. But the plan from Keiner's side of things held very true to what Mick started hearing, and then I started hearing last week. So on the Bearcat Journal side, the credit goes to Mick, because Mick has those relationships in the recruiting circles around Ohio, and it worked out. It was a great lead from him, and then as you followed the lead and continued making sure that you're getting the right information from where you need to get the right information from, the noise was very loud by Friday, and it just became a matter of when the LSU compliance department was gonna file the paperwork for Corey to go into the portal, and that happened today. And I know tampering, blah blah blah. Everybody's talking about. The thing with this one is Corey Keiner went in the portal with the intention of coming home. It was just a matter of, Cincinnati, will you take, are you down for what I'm down for? And I think that speaks a million miles to Luke Fickell and his staff and the relationships that they build and the ability that they have to not burn bridges. Now, there are kids, obviously, that bridges have been burned and bad decisions have been made, and, this kid's not coming back. But if you look at it, more often than not, when these local kids go away somewhere else, that door is left open. That's the new age of college football. Look, we're going to handle our situation right. If you handle your situation right, even if you go somewhere else and down the road we are led back towards each other, we're going to have that relationship, and that relationship is still going to be solid. And you're going to know what we're really about. And we're not going to blow smoke up your ass. And we're not going to tell you what you want to hear just for the sake of telling you what you want to hear. so that when things come back around, because in college sports now, guess what? Things are coming back around a hell of a lot more often than they used to, right?
Yeah.
This is a situation where you have to tip your cap to Luke Fickell and the culture and the staff and everything he's put in place here, Aaron, because this doesn't happen if you're not about the right things to begin with, right?
Right. So I guess I want to go back to what would the downside of Corey Keiner coming back home be? Because he was a top one. No, I just mean from the side of people on the boards, because I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. You have a top 160 kid in his class who has these homegrown ties. He was a Mr. Ohio. And you have a room right now. That's not a knock on the kids in the running back room currently, because again, Brady even just got done saying he's been very impressed with what the running back room has been doing this spring. It's a simple matter of fact that no one has really separated themselves right now as the guy. So why wouldn't you want to beef up that room with a guy at Corey Keiner's level? I just don't understand what the downside could be.
Right. Like, do you bring Corey Keiner in if Jerome Ford is your lead back?
I don't think
maybe, but it's a different conversation, right?
Sure. Like expectations
here is our
would be
lead back.
Right. Expectations would be completely different on both sides.
Right. But that's why you hire a coaching staff that's straightforward, that's straight up, that puts it on the table and lets you know this is where things stand. I know from what I've heard, this was contingent on after Corey entered the portal. He had a conversation with Luke Fickell. There was not a conversation with Luke Fickell before he was in the portal. And after that conversation, we got an announcement. Like, the kid wanted to come home. That's what he wanted. And in large part, that never happens if he goes to LSU with a bad taste in his mouth about Cincinnati, right?
No.
Because Cincinnati got jilted lover syndrome or
vice versa.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about from Corey's part.
Okay.
Like, he went into the portal with singular focus on I'm going home.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen if Cincinnati doesn't do things the right way as he was being recruited. And you just have to hope a kid doesn't get annoyed when you send him 513 recruiting mailers in one fell swoop when he was recruiting.
Pretty good number. So a couple of things on this, obviously. When he put his name into the portal, every national media pundit did a quick story about it.
Yeah, that's
LSU,
how good he is.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, he was having a good spring. Like, you go on the LSU board, you go on LSU's Twitter, they're all talking about how excited they were and how promising Corey looked this entire spring and how excited they were to see his growth starting this season. So this is, and of course, in the day and age of college sports, he's eligible next year. That's another massive thing. But then I always think back even more about what Coach Mike Cummings has been able to do with offensive lines, with the ability to really run the football. Think about what Corey behind an offensive line with Cummings in it in year 2, year 3, with also these other younger running backs. Man, it's just, it adds to the excitement that's already been brewing.
Well, and how much more excited is Corey, and I guess we'll find out, to be under Gino than the former UC offensive coordinator.
Chelsea.
Couldn't be ignored.
Chelsea, how good was Montgomery in spring ball? Ryan Montgomery was limited in spring ball. He had some offseason work done. So he was limited. Miles Montgomery was very good. So that's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out, because I think you're very comfortable with like Ryan Montgomery as a punt returner, number 2 back, guy that can spell your starter, give you quality reps, and be reliable. I thought throughout the spring, and I talked about this, that Miles Montgomery was the most complete back that was in the competition that we saw.
I don't I don't think that's even arguable, if I'm being honest.
Well, yeah. I mean, anything. Are you a member of Bearcat Journal? Anything is arguable. We're arguing whether or not Corey Keiner was a good addition today on the message board. Anything is arguable.
Ugh.
I'm interested to see if this accelerates Keiner and Miles Montgomery going head to head. And like, all right, the chips are on the table, right? Like, now the chips are on the table. Let's see who's 1A, who's 1B. Like that's, and you have to wonder,
Does Ethan Wright move?
Is Ethan Wright looking at things from the other side of the line of scrimmage? He doesn't want to, but I mean,
that's the funniest thing because that's always what Luke brings up, and it mainly seems as if it's like somewhat in jest, but also somewhat like serious.
Funny, right?
Right. But I mean, why not? I mean, Ethan's just an absolute freak athlete, and you can tell by the way he runs the football. He's also a guy that likes to hit as well, and you can tell that by the way he runs the football. So, yeah, like you said, man, it just whenever you can bring competition in, it's like when Ben came back. You know, did Evan cower down and decide to transfer? No, he said this is a competition. We're going to build each other up as we continue to see who can, come out on top and be teammates in the process. So I see absolutely zero reason to ever consider any downfall or any bad side to this. It's a massive day to be a Cincinnati Bearcat fan and a part of the program. It's a huge addition. And man, it's awesome.
And you say that, Brent, and I think we've even seen in some of the recent tweets from players, this iron sharpens iron mantra is extending outside of the locker room. It's extending outside of the weight room. Like we're seeing it in actual tweets from players. We're hearing it in the interviews that we did after the spring game. Like this isn't just guys saying things. Like this is becoming the mindset here.
Yeah, and on top of it, it's all because of it goes back to the coach and goes back to everyone buying into the culture. And you heard Brady talk about it, how all these guys came in, transfers, and they didn't have this high and mighty thought about themselves. They immediately came in, wanted to work, wanted to be a Bearcat, wanted to compete. So, and I mean, if there's anyone, go ahead.
That's where culture is real. Because if your culture is set that way, the incoming player doesn't have a choice, right? You get in line or you get left behind. If you're going to come into this culture and think you're going to coast and make it, you are dead wrong. You have no chance. So that's where that comes from. That's why you work so hard to build the culture that they've built. Is because now the locker room polices itself, right?
Well, I think we heard that when Brady said Nick Martiner came in, has never worked this hard in his life and is asking for more. Like,
right.
How many programs are able to say that?
So
usually, go ahead, Brent. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'll let you touch on that, but I was going to also equate something as well. We all know how big of a recruit Corey Keiner was, but you got to think as well how many players there are to recruit on the football side, and what this level of a commitment would equate to on like the basketball side, where you could get into the numbers game if you really want to dive that deep into it. I mean, it is laughable to ever come out of this day and this event as anything other than like you should be dancing in the streets getting ready for another step to becoming a top 10 program, because now Corey Keiner decides to come here. Well, maybe he talks to some other top 5 guys in the state of Ohio in the future and they say, hey man, I went to these quote unquote blue blood big time football programs, and I'm telling you, you can do everything here at Cincinnati as they try to do there. So
he would have been the highest.
Join me from the beginning, yeah.
He would have been the highest rated recruit ever in Cincinnati's history
by the composite. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, that's absolutely correct. It's a big day, man, because it changes the offense completely in terms of you're now going into battle with quote unquote a new quarterback with what you know is a dog, right? I think Miles Montgomery is going to be really good. I genuinely believe that. But I feel a lot better about things knowing Corey Keiner is also in that room as you head to Arkansas. Because what had to happen against UCLA to start the Des Ridder era?
Mike Warren
carried the ball like 40 times that game in LA, right?
And you had to rely on Mike Warren to pick up a 4th and 1, 4th and 2. That's where you really started to establish yourself as we're going for
it. Jason says it's like getting Rayvon on the basketball side. It's like if Rayvon went to Kentucky for a year and was like a solid rotational piece at Kentucky for that year and then came home. That's what it's like. Because then you've proven it at the absolute highest level of the sport, right? Like, there's no question now as to, is Corey Keiner a productive college running back? The answer is yes. We'll find out how good in a couple months. But you now have a known commodity, a proven commodity. What do we know with Jerome Ford? Nick Saban liked him enough to give him the ball some at Alabama. Did he become their number one guy? No. But he started a game for Alabama. You don't start at running back for Alabama if Nick Saban doesn't think you're a good running back. And we've now seen that.
No.
We've now seen that with Corey Keiner at LSU. It's no longer in question, like how capable of Corey Keiner of being a Power 5, high major, whatever moniker you want to use, running back. That is stamped. And now we get to see how good he can be at Cincinnati.
And also, it's like Rayvon Griffith going to Kentucky and getting the fan base behind him and being excited for what he's going to be there as a Wildcat. It's just so many different things to consider. And so, man, it's awesome because, like you said,
it's a big day.
It's a big day. It's a big day.
I don't start hyping up stuff 3 days, 4 days in advance unless I know it's a major bombshell. Like, I don't do that because then, like, you drop something and then people are like, oh, yeah, that wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. Come on, Chad. You can't start building stuff up for 3 days and then, hit us with a low 3-star commitment. Like, that's not how this works. I understand the game. I know how this works. And Corey Keiner was one that, look, I couldn't say it. I couldn't come right out and say it, but it was worth letting people know a couple days in advance that, like, something big is bubbling. And today it exploded.
Bubbled over.
That it did.
Well, should we timestamp it or anything else closing in this?
Cincinnati got better today.
Yeah. And not only you say Cincinnati got better, but remember, this is top 10 Cincinnati. This is a coach in Luke Fickell that is deciding that he's going to be here long term. And I honestly think this move bodes to that part as well. Just the fact that, I'm sure Luke told Corey, hey, I'm going to be here. Come, let's make this special. And all of a sudden, it's all coming to fruition. So it's not just Cincinnati getting better. It's a top 10 budding program taking that another step in the right direction.
How about the Inquirer saying when current LSU offensive coordinator Mike Dembrock was at UC, he sought Keiner to be a hometown hero. Dembrock with an M.
Them boys, we them boys.
Wait, was that from a Barstool article or was that a
The Inquirer?
Okay. Oh.
The Inquirer.
Man, well, quite a mess going on down there in Baton Rouge as well, it seems like. So I'm sure Keiner's happy to head on back north and continue something special.
And Mick is talking to him tomorrow, so we'll have more with quotes from Corey tomorrow on Bearcat Journal. So stay tuned for that.
Timestamp, y'all. Lock it in.
Let's Urban Artifacts celebrates their 7th anniversary this month. They have events every day from Tuesday, April 19th through Sunday, April 24th. Stop in to celebrate with some world-class fruit tarts. Swing by Urban Artifacts Northside Tap Room. Mention Bearcat Journal. Get $2 off a flight of 4 tasters. Over 10% of the fruit used in making fruit beers nationwide goes to Urban Artifact. Like the raspberries and blueberries that Aaron is drinking right now.
So good.
So good. So good. All right, do we basketball a little bit? There's not a lot to get to in basketball right now, so we can probably knock this out pretty quick before getting to a pretty substantial mailbag and trying to get done before Brent gets on his plane.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think that you guys will probably have to do the mailbag yourself, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It's that early boarding thing where, like, the flight's at 9:50, but they're boarding at 9:05. It's like that makes
9:07.
I know. Well, but they do it by sections or whatnot, so I'm good sitting back. But Chad, I texted you after the Kalu Ezekbe commitment about how the staff continuously recruited him. All these different ties to whether it be Chad Dollar recruiting him at USF or West going all out to try and get him to join him at UNCG. This is another one where the staff had a previous connection to a player that then hit the transfer portal, and now you see. What is another what?
What are we talking about, Kalu, or are we talking about something?
Oh no,
else?
I'm talking about Corey Keiner. How?
Oh, okay.
Staff had a previous connection, and then this is kind of on the basketball side. It's just great to see both staffs having that, that wherewithal to make that a priority.
That's always going to be the easiest path, right? Is you're speed dating. We talked about this before. This is absolutely speed dating when you're trying to recruit in the transfer portal, unless you've already dated before. And if you've already dated before, like, you might not have hooked up, you might not have sealed the deal, but you know each other. And there's familiarity, and you have the ability to skip a lot of the, what would be it? Sniffing butt stage.
I was going to say icebreakers, but okay.
Oh man, sniffing butts. That's I guess if you're a dog, yes.
Yeah, like in dog terms.
What did you think he was talking about, Brent?
I don't know what the kids
I'm
are
leaving
doing
from
these days.
Florida.
I've been married a long time. I don't know what happened while you were down in Florida with your girlfriend.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
I'm talking about dogs. Dogs. Brent.
Okay, dogs. Deal. Lock it in.
You're getting past that, and you're seeing that with a couple of the names that are mentioned this week around Cincinnati basketball. Rob Fennessy is in town today and tomorrow. Indiana transfer. He was coached in Indiana by Mike Roberts, so there is a direct connection there. One of the other names that we saw pop up with Cincinnati attached to it is Antoine Davis, who's a transfer from Detroit. Who's the head coach at Detroit? Mike Davis. Who's Antoine Davis's dad? Mike Davis. When Bob Knight left Indiana, who took over at Indiana as the head coach?
Mike Davis.
Mike Davis. Who played on Mike Davis's first team at Indiana?
Mike Roberts.
Mike Roberts. There's that's where you have to pay attention on a lot of these portal things. Are there going to be some that you're building a new relationship fast? Yeah, sure. But those are the exception and not the rule. Generally, there's going to be somebody on your staff that recruited a kid that has a connection to the kid. Chad Dollar, also a connection to Mike Davis. So,
what's that connection? Out of curiosity.
Just they've both been in basketball forever and ever and ever and are acquaintances. It's just how this works, man. Like, it goes back to when I joked about, like, when a kid enters the portal, generally 70% of the work is already done. That's because it's all about who are your ties to, who do you feel comfortable with, who do you feel the most comfortable with, and that plays a big factor in how all of this plays out. And you're seeing that on the basketball side, the same as you see it on the football side with Corey Keiner. D'Artagnan Tinsley had a couple connections to the program and then was also being recruited by Mike Cummings when Mike Cummings got the job. And then you'll have an exception like a Nick Mardner that, I don't know that there were any connections there because he was from Canada and then he played at Hawaii. So there will be outliers, but by and large, if you can, if a kid hits the portal and you can trace a connection or two, then that's someone that's probably, you take a little more serious than just listing every kid that's in the portal as somebody that might be of interest, because the odds are much more likely it's going to be Kalu Ezekpe that they almost got at UNC Greensboro as a staff. And then it comes full circle, and now he's going to play for Wes Miller here at Cincinnati. But where it gets interesting, like Rob Fennessy played at Indiana. The last 2 years, Thad Matta has been an associate AD at Indiana. So he is also familiar with the player. Now you've got a legit battle for the kid, right? Because you've got two programs that have a connection to him that are trying to get the job done. So it'll be interesting there, because he just took a weekend official visit to Butler. He's at Cincinnati today and tomorrow. And from my understanding, this is things are going to probably move pretty fast this week. I would be surprised if we don't have an answer by the end of the week, whether it be Cincinnati or Butler on that recruitment. I don't have a great feel yet. I've had people, they tell me they think Butler has a slight lead. I've had people tell me they think Cincinnati has a slight lead. And those are outside sources that aren't around either the Butler or Cincinnati program. So it's going to be whichever staff does the best job of showing him, this is where you can try to get your final stamp on your college career, because he played 4 years at Indiana. This is going to be his last year of college basketball with his COVID year. So whoever convinces him that they're the right fit for his final year, that's where he's going to go. I don't think it's going to take long after the visit ends tomorrow at Cincinnati.
And another thing is, all of my friends who are Butler fans as well, they want Rob. They want Rob pretty bad. They say they need a point guard. They need someone that can come in and lead the team, even if it's just 1 year, just kind of get everything going in the right direction. So, I mean, the one for Rob Fennessy is big. It goes beyond numbers and whatnot. I actually broadcasted his state championship that they played against New Albany and Romeo Langford. So a little blast from the past. And he was actually one of the better players on the court in that game as a true freshman. So, man, he's been around a long time, like you said. But just it would be a good addition. And, I'm here for it if it were to come to fruition. Did I see McNeil from West Virginia as well?
He's coming in Thursday.
Thursday, yeah. So
I just want to point out, Brent just throwing his bona fides on the ground. Like, look at this.
what? I mean, it was
that's what we do, right? You got some credentials. You put your credentials on the table sometimes.
I ain't mad at you.
Little blast from the past, man. But no, yeah. So I just think that the Kalu edition, we didn't really talk about it on the BBP yet. His addition to me is just toughness, the ability to have that veteran leadership on the post, and then of course a little added offense. Doesn't have the crazy height that the previous bigs had on the team, but I like the addition, especially all the quotes that both Brett was able to get, and then if you go over and read Justin Williams on The Athletic, his article as well, it's just all about toughness, all about wanting to be the best player. Putting lofty goals for himself. I mean, that's what you want to have coming in, especially at the big man position, especially one that is, trying to go out with a bang and is closing out of a college career. So I thought it was a really, really good addition there at the big man spot.
Agreed.
Although if he does ever shave his head, he's got a nickname coming.
What's that?
I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Okay. Okay, deal. Well, okay. No, I saw your GIF when he committed, so I know what you're talking about. I'll record it. Okay. Well, hey guys, I do have to let you know. It looks like you're gonna be doing the mailbag by yourself.
That's all right, brother. Travel
We're
safe.
boarding. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This was fun. I was really concerned on how it was gonna go, but I didn't think it went too bad.
Made probably for one of your better airport experiences.
Yeah, I'd say.
Somebody wanted to know, were you at a destination wedding?
No. This one was just Easter with my family. They live down here, so came down, and then of course when additional day brings itself on, either you can sulk and wonder, oh no, what am I going to do, or you can just go back and have a good full Sunday.
Are you in the tunnel?
No. If you see,
okay, I when you had it turned where I just saw the wall, I was like, is he in the tunnel to go onto the plane?
No. It's right over there. For some reason,
he's looking at the stewardess like.
He totally didn't. His flight wasn't even delayed a day. He just totally rescheduled, right?
Yeah,
well, take a look at the prices of flights, and there's no chance I'd do that.
Good point.
But no, I mean it's a great day to be a Bearcat, and man, I had to come on and talk about obviously the big news, and then Brady Collins is on, so got to come on for that too.
Sure.
Well, we appreciate your dedication, my friend.
Yes, sir. But
hop on the plane. We'll talk soon.
All right, sounds good. See you guys
later, man.
I guess do we time
stamp? Yeah,
time stamp Brent's exit.
Well, I mean, we time stamp the end of the. Are we done talking basketball, or do we need to wrap up basketball here?
I mean, we can wrap it up for a second.
Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting week. I think they're Sean McNeil, who's going to be here Thursday. That one is much more of a wide open contest. He's taken a couple visits. He's going to take a couple more after Cincinnati. So that one's going to be a little bit more of a battle. Fanise is a coin flip right now, as best I can tell. Like I said, I have people telling me he's a slight lean to Butler. I have people telling me he's a slight lean to Cincinnati. So,
well, Sean McNeil's not a pressing need for this team right now, outside of the fact that they need a scorer. Correct?
I mean, he's scored double-digit points a game in the Big 12 for 3 years and shoots like 38% from three.
I guess my point is, like, if you're looking for a position of need, you needed a point guard, you needed a big. Those were your positions of need. You also needed
needed a wing scorer.
You needed a scorer, but it didn't necessarily have to be at the 2, at the 3, at the 4. It needed to be one of, correct?
Yeah, but there's not many wing scorers out there that have more bona fide, proven statistics than Sean McNeil.
Okay. I just wanted to get my point across that.
No, I get your point. I'm just saying.
Luxury need, I guess, as opposed to.
Scoring is never a luxury, Aaron.
Okay.
Did you watch this team play offense last year? Do I at least get a touche out of that?
I mean, I think that's what the eyebrow was.
Antoine Davis is interesting. And there's been some
well, and tell me a little bit more about him.
Rumbling.
For those that don't know who Antoine Davis is, myself, because I don't research kids until I need to research kids.
Okay, Antoine Davis played at Detroit for the past 3 years.
He went into the portal last week, right?
Yeah, 4 years he played at Detroit.
Yeah,
he averages about 25 points a game for his career.
So, would you compare him to like a Kane Broom as far as high scoring at that level?
Better than Kane Broom probably, but pull up the Basketball Reference on Antoine Davis.
Okay.
He is high volume. For his career, Aaron, he has averaged about 20 shots a game. Generally 10 twos a game, 10 threes a game. He's a little on the smaller side. He's about 6'1". He's about a 37% career three-point shooter on like 300 threes a season. And he takes some tough ones. He makes a lot of tough ones. He's a little bit of a liability on defense. So I think he would fit more in that luxury category than like a fantasy, but bona fide score. I mean, bona fide score. Think some Kendrick Davis maybe to his game in terms of being a little undersized. But here are the numbers. Average 24.6 points a game. So you do that over 111 games. He's scored a lot of bleeping points in college, Aaron.
I can do that math for you.
Okay. It's a lot. He's on pace to be a top 10 scorer in the history of college basketball. So there are connections there, as we've talked about.
That's roughly 2,730 points.
It's a lot of points. He's going to be a 3,000, granted, he's going to get a fifth year that nobody got, or most people don't get, but he's going to surpass a 3,000 point mark as a college scorer. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. So there's been a lot of questions on. Rothstein reported he was going to take an unofficial visit to Cincinnati. He was planning a couple of officials. He's going to take an unofficial to Cincinnati. Let's discuss that. The only difference between the major difference between an unofficial visit and an official visit is who pays. On an official visit, the school pays. On an unofficial visit, the player, or obviously the parents, pay. Mike Davis isn't hurting for money. Mike Davis has been a head coach in college basketball for a long time. They're in Detroit. If they want to come down and pay for lunch and potentially pay for dinner and maybe even a hotel room if things get wild, it's going to be okay, right? Like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah,
they're not, and they're not coming from California. Even if they were coming from Texas or California, I'm pretty sure Mike Davis could afford that plane flight. I think he would be okay. So that's the big difference, is who's paying the tab. This tab will be on Mike Davis for his son Antoine to come down. I wouldn't sweat the difference between, is he taking an official or unofficial? What I would sweat is Mike Davis did an interview and said they're looking at 500,000 to $1 million in NIL. I would sweat that. Because I don't know that Cincinnati has that for an Antoine Davis.
Or anyone right now.
Yeah, right now. Right. So that's what I would sweat. So yeah, that kind of covers basketball recruiting for now.
Very good.
That is another Urban Artifact timestamp. Urban Artifact is the largest sour-only brewery in the U.S. They pack over 700,000 pounds of fruit, real fruit, into their lineup of fruit tarts every year. Swing by Urban Artifact's Northside Tap Room. Mention Bearcat Journal. Get $2 off a flight of 4 tasters. It is now time for the mailbag.
Sure. As soon as I finish typing up the timestamp here.
Okay.
Bird. All right. First question in the mailbag. So we already went over UC Merck's questions with Brady. I know this is a question we continue to get, I feel like every week, every other week. With spring ball now complete, what is our current scholarship number? Assuming we have room, do you see us looking to add any transfers before next season? And what are the targeted positions? Hopefully Keiner's the guy at running back, so asking more for the other positions / area of need. For example, offensive tackle, edge, safety, maybe.
We talked about this. I think the two positions, we talked about it as 3 positions last week. The two positions I think you would keep an eye on are edge rusher and corner. Boundary, bona fide higher end corner. I don't think that room has got enough talent. I don't think you need to bring a mid-level guy into the cornerback room, right? But if you could get a top-end guy, I think that would be there. Scholarship number is tight. Ryan, I don't know if you're new or not. We don't. It's fluid, right? The only time it's not fluid is if I tell you guys that they are at the limit. If I tell you guys they're at the limit, then like last year, last year they hit the limit, and I had to tell everybody there's no more room at the end. Nobody else is coming. And then a player would go in the transfer portal and they would be like, Chad, please. And I would be like, no, they can't. There's no more. We're not at that point yet. If we get to that point, I'll let you know.
But so kind of to double up on this question, though, I guess last year, were they full at this point where they couldn't take a guy in, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
So that kind of gives you the flexibility of making a Corey Keiner type move right now, because they planned ahead to have this type of flexibility in this type of a position.
Well, and they also, the NCAA allowed you 7 extra spots for players that have transferred out. Up to 7 extra spots for players that have transferred out. It just had to jive with your 85.
Okay.
I think they're pretty close to the 85, maybe 1 or 2 spots over, but it's at the end of spring. Like, that stuff works itself out with medical DQs and, guys kind of seeing the writing on the wall in terms of their position on the depth chart. So they're right around the scholarship number right now. I really could only see addition positions at cornerback and edge rusher if they found absolutely a home run solution.
All right. When is the latest a player can enter the portal without having to apply for a waiver to avoid sitting out a year?
I don't think there's a date in football.
Okay.
There's a date. There's like an end date in basketball. Basketball, May 1st.
Right.
If you haven't entered the portal by May 1st, you lose the ability to skip your sit-out year. If there's a hard and fast date on that in football, I've not heard it.
Okay. In your mind, what is the best NFL situation? We did talk about that. We actually went into full detail with that. Keiner possibly committing to the Bearcats give anyone else a full job, or just me?
Just you.
What is Brady's favorite part of the offseason and why? We did do that. Sorry, this is me working through this real time with Brady. The kid with UC and Butler in his top will be committing shortly, but with basketball and football transfer portals heating up, who could be committing soon for basketball and football? We've covered basketball.
Corey Keiner.
All right.
Let me go with Corey Keiner.
How many spots are left for transfers for football and basketball?
Basketball has 2 open scholarships.
Okay.
Football, flip a coin.
Sounds like Keiner will be in the fold before you record this. If so, what kind of ripple effect, if any, do we see in the running back room? Is this a move that finally pushes Ethan Wright to safety? I know we kind of had a conversation about this question.
I don't know. I don't, you gotta wonder about Miles Montgomery a little bit.
I think
wonder if
anybody in that pecking order, right? I mean, essentially, if anybody feels slighted at that point.
Right. I mean, it's a very interesting question that I don't have an answer to yet because, like I said, all of this happened pretty fast.
Between Ryan Montgomery, Miles Montgomery, Ethan Wright, even Stephen Bird, I don't know that you can necessarily rule out anybody from feeling slighted right now.
Stephen Bird just got here.
I understand, but I mean, perhaps you were told one thing upon your recruitment, and now you got a guy with 3 years of eligibility in front of you. I don't know.
I think this is an important question. Aaron, I know Keiner can run, but how do his ankles look to you?
I mean, I haven't seen him on the field yet. We'll see.
Are you going to do an ankle report?
TBD.
When you see him?
TBD.
Okay.
I'm a calf guy, man. Come on, because I don't have them. Any other players in the portal we might be looking at?
Currently, no.
These are a lot of kind of the same question reworded. Is there any conceivable way Prater and Keiner don't rush for a combined 4,000 yards next year? Yeah, Ben Bryant being the quarterback.
Yeah.
But
Still possible. Maybe you run a 3-back system with
4,000 yards.
It's facetious, Aaron. He's joking.
He might be able to do it if he's a starter.
Maybe. I think he'll throw the ball more than being able to rush for, the 1,700 yards you needed after Corey gets 2,300.
We'll see. Any chance if some of the new members of the coaching staff, guys like Cummings and Ross, could be persuaded to do a get-to-know-you interview on upcoming podcasts?
Possibly. I'm not going to rule it out.
I think we have probably a better chance with Walt.
I think we could get Walt. I think we could get Cummings. I think Cummings would do it. I haven't personally met Ross yet. By the time he got here, Kelly was doing her in and out of the hospital and, family
busy
stuff. And yeah. So I haven't met Ross yet. But as soon as I can, I will. All
right. Can you give your updated status and depth and balance of the skill rooms? Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end.
I'm going to do articles on a post-spring article on all the different position groups as we go through the coming weeks. So look forward to that.
Hurry up and wait. All right, moving on to the basketball portion. This actually was in the basketball portion, but it is still part of the football portion. I think they just hit the wrong mailbag. Ignore this if it's been talked about, but do you guys see any major differences in Gino's offense versus years past?
Looks pretty similar. I think we've seen a little bit more tight end than we did last year, but we saw more tight end last spring than we saw last season. So that'll just be a matter of, does it translate? Does what they practice translate into what we see on the field? But other than that, I mean, they're pretty similar so far. Other than, obviously you're going to have less checks and audibles and decisions made at the line of scrimmage right now as you work in somebody that's not Desmond Ridder that ran the offense for 4 years, right?
Right.
But it looks still like a lot of inside zone. Pushing the ball downfield to guys like Tyler Scott and Nick Mardner, using the tight ends, both over the middle and down the seam. I don't see a ton of difference yet. No, I mean, it's still going to be, from the looks of it, a very NFL style offense. They're not switching to the K gun or the run and shoot or whatever you want to call the air raid, I guess, is the big thing in college now. Took me a minute to remember it, so I had to go to some old stuff. But you get my picture. You're muted.
I don't know why I did that. I have no idea. I didn't even hit that button. Basketball portion of the mailbag now. Do we have something in the NIL for Antoine Davis? In my opinion, he could be the difference in winning the league or not. That's how good he is. Number 17 in the transfer rankings. I don't see 5 players better than him. Watched him closely the last few years. He is something else and should be a priority.
I mean, I think the concerns would be defense in the American is, defending in the American is a lot different from the Horizon. He would have to. I think he could handle that. I think he would have to get a little bigger. I think he'd have to get up around 175, 180. And then he shoots almost the same percentage from two as he does 3. And that would come with strength, right?
Yeah.
he would need to get a little bit stronger to finish at the rim in the American than he was on the Horizon. But boy, when he gets hot,
watch out.
I mean, you're talking 10 threes a game at 37, 38%. So the guy's averaging 4 threes a game. Think about that.
It'd be fun.
Yep.
What insight can you share? And I know we talked about this a little bit, to Antoine Davis taking officials versus unofficial visits, and why is UC's unofficial? Is there a limit to portal players in official versus unofficial visits? What won't he see or be able to do while in town unofficially? Thanks.
So this is kind of mutual from what I've gathered. UC has a limit that they can, it's not a portal limit, it's a limit in general on official visits you can use. Player has limit on official visits they can use. And since he's just in Detroit, it made sense for both sides to save a visit and just have him come down with his dad, and his dad covers the cost of dinner and lunch and dinner for him and his kid in a hotel if they need one, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
That's the biggest difference. And remember, like I said, Mike Roberts played for Mike Davis. Like, they have a great relationship. I think both sides just agreed, like, we have the wherewithal and the means to do this without costing either side on that ledger. So they're going to do it that way.
And you don't believe this just to be like a courtesy because of that relationship?
No, I mean, there's serious interest. Now, if it really comes down to NIL, then he's probably going to go somewhere else. Like, I think that's the reality of the situation.
Understandable. What are the chances of getting Rayvon and Collier in the 23 class? Thanks. Sorry.
Both of them, 27.4%. Because getting both of them is unlikely. Like, that's the reality of the situation.
Well, I would think
Now,
they're both looking for an NIL deal. I mean, let's call a spade a spade.
But if you get Rayvon in 2 weeks, right? If you get Rayvon in 2 weeks, then the only thing you need is Collier. So then the odds go up. But it's like a parlay. The odds are lower on a parlay, right?
Yeah. Because
getting two things to happen is much more unlikely than getting one thing to happen.
I mean, if you're saying 27% though for two guys of that stature, whew,
it's pretty good. Whew. It's pretty good. But I know people are going to hear that and go, "Oh, it's over. We're not with it," but they don't understand how odds work.
Brent's not here to make his little owl noise, but like I said, whew,
whew, whew.
Any update on the recruitment of Wesley Tubbs? Seems like UC/West have been involved with him for quite a while, but I haven't heard much as of late.
I haven't heard his name much as of late either. Hopefully I will see him this weekend at EYBL, and I will report back on what I hear.
Are you an either guy or an either guy, or does it depend?
Probably depends.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't think I was an Adonis guy at all, and apparently there's like 20 people that remember I called somebody an Adonis.
Jack Tingle. Just saying. Plant a flag, fellas. Which happens first? An official announcement of UC to the Big 12 for the 23-24 season, or an official announcement of a return to a beloved apparel relationship from days of yore?
The Big 12 thing for sure. Like,
I think you have to have one to get the other.
No,
right? No, you don't think so? Because I think to get the endorsement with Jordan Brand per se, I think you have to have that Big 12 done deal.
They're already going to the Big 12 done deal.
My point is, why would you spend money on all of the moving of the apparel, to purchase all this new apparel for all of your sports and all of that?
You're making stuff up in your head.
No, what do you mean? Like,
you're making stuff up in your head that doesn't matter. That's what I mean. That's not going to matter. If they're going to sign with Jordan, they're going to sign with Jordan. It has nothing to do with the Big 12.
Just saying, there's a lot more money available once you're signed on that dotted line.
Jordan doesn't pay you any money.
Right, but how much more would you have to spend in ordering all that new apparel
None,
compared to
because you
using
get
what
it, like you negotiate. This is how much. That's what the deal will be. This is what we need in apparel, and Jordan agrees to it, and then that's about it. Like there's no, the way Jordan does things. There's no like UC got $2.5 million for apparel from Under Armour, and then on top of that they got $2.5 million for cash. That cash, if you do Jordan, is out. It doesn't matter where you're
Is there
at.
a percentage that you get on apparel, or is that
I'm sure there's something.
to use the logo? I would think, but it's a kind of a, I don't know.
Yeah, you just have a fan understanding of like how that side of it works. It's a business deal. I'm not saying you should have my understanding of it. Yeah. I've been dealing with this crap for 16 years. That's not your fault. They have basically a guaranteed deal with Under Armour until 2024. I don't, unless something crazy comes along that blows them away and they jump on it, I don't think that you'll see them sign with anybody new until 2024. They'll be in the Big 12 in 2023. So for the sake of this question, I'd say 95% the announcement for the Big, because then you're just talking about the announcement. I think that announcement's coming this summer because you need a year runway, scheduling and everything else.
Yeah.
They're not going to announce in January of 2023 that we're moving to the Big 12 in June.
Right before the season starts.
Yeah. Right. Like that's not how it's going to work. I think we'll hear something this summer that the teams of, UC, Houston, UCF have reached an agreement and that they'll be moving to the Big 12 in 2023. I don't think we'll see an apparel deal until 2024, late 2023, early 2024.
How long after the Big 12 announcement do you see the end of the Miami University football scheduling?
Never.
Gross.
I don't think it'll ever end.
From the mid 80s until now, who was the best leader at the guard position, and who in the 22 and 23 class would be the most comparable of who we are recruiting?
I mean, I don't know. I wasn't on the teams. I don't know who led, but, and I didn't cover the teams until 2006.
All right, so even if we start in the 90s, I mean, you watched like Van Exel.
I mean, I watched, but I was like 14 years old.
Okay, then even to go into the 2000s, you watched Logan. You watched. No,
but that's not what I was watching. I was watching the games as a fan. I wasn't watching I wasn't paying attention to who had control of the locker room. I mean, I guess Nick, those guys talk in very high regard about Nick and the way he handled himself. I thought Troy had great leadership qualities. I thought Cash had really good leadership qualities.
So who would be most comparable of a leader as to
know
who we're recruiting?
I know you guys come up with these questions in your brain, but
I'm trying to make this easier for you too.
I know, I don't know the answer that you're looking for. I don't have a good answer.
Well, then you'll love this question. Who will make it to the 1,000 club at UC next year?
I mean,
JD has 734 and 266 to go. DDJ has 653 and 347 to go. And Micah Adams-Woods has 627 and 373 to go. I can't believe Micah Adams-Woods is that high on that list, if I'm being honest.
I mean, he's played. I mean, the thing that gets you to 1,000 for most guys is playing relevant minutes as a freshman. And Micah did that, right? So that's how you kind of move yourself up the list to get somebody to unexpectedly say, oh my God, I didn't realize he was that close. I mean, the answer is going to probably be JD.
Probably.
Dave would have to score a pretty significant amount more than JD over that, whatever that first stretch of 10, 15 games would look like. 20 games, I guess, in this, to overtake him.
Let's say it's 20 games, right? And over that 20 games, Davenport only has to get 13.3 a game, which is roughly what he averages, if I'm not mistaken.
It's right around there. Yeah.
Not too far off.
Right.
Whereas over 20 games, Davenport would have to average 17, and I don't think there's a shot in hell that Davenport averages 17 without another. I'm sorry, Dave, without having another scorer on this team. Period.
Yeah, I mean, but what it would so it would take Jeremiah averaging like 11 and Dave averaging like 18 for Dave to pass him by the 20 game mark.
Yeah,
I don't think that's likely.
Even
even looking at JD.
Well, and even looking at cupcake games, if they indeed have a cupcake schedule again in the out of conference, that'd still be quite a feat.
You're asking over the first 25 games for Dave to average like 7 points a game more than Jeremiah.
Yeah, and
for Dave to pass it.
I don't see that.
I don't see that. Maybe it happens. I just don't see it. Now these type of questions I love because you can quantify these with like breaking down actual stuff, right? Like, Chelsea, you're not going to slap me. Well, you might slap me. That's fair. She would slap me. I don't know how hard she can slap anymore.
All 70 pounds coming in behind that slap.
Right.
What is your favorite?
JD.
I will also. What's your favorite obscure statistic you like to look at when evaluating a player?
It's not. I'm not a statistics guy. Obviously, because in AAU, there's not many statistics.
Eye test?
It's not really. Eye test, yes, but it's different. Because it's not just like, is this dude making shots? It's more, you spend enough time sitting with coaches, you start to watch what they watch, right? How's he interacting with his teammates? How is he handling games that he doesn't play well? Because it's AAU. You watch so many games. You watch a kid play 4 or 5 times a weekend, you're inevitably going to see a game where he doesn't play at his absolute best, right? So how does that kid handle himself in those situations and why? Like I thought the Sunday game for Rayvon last weekend, they played a game on Friday, 2 games on Saturday. One of the games was late Saturday night, and they played 3 overtimes. I thought Sunday he was tired. And I didn't love his body language on Sunday because I could tell physically he was tired. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But some of that is human nature, right? Yeah. But you're watching like, okay, how does he fight through it? And is he doing what he can to fight through it? And I thought he was. And it ended up being a game against a really good team from out in LA. There's a bunch of high major talent, and he helped lead his team to a win. In a game that, coming off a triple overtime loss, would have been easy for his team to just kind of bag it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's getaway day. We're about to go home. Let's put this to rest. Let's put this to bed. Let's get the hell out of here. And he didn't really do that. So stuff like that, what's his body language when his shot's not falling? Does he let it affect his defense? How is he rebounding, in these situations where nobody's watching? Is he just kind of standing around, and if the ball comes to him, he'll get it, or is he fighting? Stuff like that is like when you're evaluating, you kind of try to find out what makes the kid tick when he's on the court, because that's the stuff that translates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the kid going to fight? Is the kid going to be Evan Prater? Since we're making comparisons here. Evan Prater very easily could have, Ben Bryant's coming back. I'm out of here, man. I'm not putting up with this crap. Like, I'm supposed to be next in line. I can't believe that they're bringing this guy back.
I was a 4-star.
To try to give him my spot. It's my spot. I was the number 2 behind Dez. Or
I'm the highest recruit they've ever had.
Or does he put on his big boy pants and say, oh, you're bringing somebody in, huh? Well, I'm going to show you I'm better than him.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to show you everything I've got to be better than him. So it's hard to tell. And you miss all the time. Guys fool you. But those are the things when you're evaluating AAU or like, a kid at a camp setting. That's what you're looking for, are those like clues, those tips that can tell you, does this kid have it? Does this kid love the game? Is this kid going to fight through some adversity? Or is he going to just like say, whatever,
Yeah. All right. Saw that Sean Phillips decommitted from NC State. Is there any mutual interest there?
There might be mutual. Well, Sean Phillips might be interested. I don't believe there's going to be any Cincinnati interest in that one. That one, it's kind of a shit show. I given the way things went the first time around, I don't think there will be Cincinnati interest in Sean Phillips.
Can we land Rayvon Phillips and Collier and then talk about how the Bearcats are back, baby?
No, because I don't think Phillips is somebody they're going to recruit. I just answered that question.
Aren't the Bearcats due for another summer foreign trip soon, or did COVID kill those?
You get those every 4 years. The last one they took was Mix.
Canada, right?
Yeah, the last one they took was Mix final year. So I guess they would be in line, but I don't know with
unless
COVID
pushed everything back 2 years in the cycle.
Well, NCAA, I've never heard anything about the NCAA changing the window for when you're eligible for one of those.
Well, were they just Canada trips or were they?
No, you can go anywhere.
Okay. So I guess if you're scheduling a trip, then of course COVID would play into it because you'd have to abide by whatever the guidelines were to travel in and or out of that state with whatever those protocols included as yes, thank you. But with whatever those protocols were as well. So.
It's tricky right now. But I think Cincinnati would be eligible this offseason or next offseason.
All right. What players are multi-positional at 3, 4, 5?
All of them. Newman's not going to play the 4.
Odie's not going to play the 3.
Odie's not going to play the 3. Like the 4 and 5 are more interchangeable than the 3 and 4. You can get away with Davenport for a little bit at the 3, but to this point, he's not. They're not going to Russia, Chelsea. Relax. He's not going to play a lot at the 3. I think Josh Reed can play the 4 and the 3, potentially, depending on what he looks like when he gets here, how he looks when he gets here. Hensley can play the 3 and the 4. Most of the guys that can play the 5, all the guys that can play the 5 can play the 4. I think Ezekpe is going to be able to play the 4 and 5. It's just a really convoluted, confusing answer that people are just going to be confused about. So
this guy can play 2, 4, 3, and 7. He plays the 7. Right. Who was the last? We're on to the Banks portion. Okay. Sorry. Who lasts the longest in a prison fight from BCJ staff, and why is it Aaron? He refuses to die. Of course, that comes from Skins.
Sorry, I had to tell the kid love you. It's bedtime.
You're fine. I actually skipped a question from the basketball. JD's ideal role on a good team.
Spot up shooter, spot up stretch 4.
Off the bench or on as a starter?
Probably as a spark off the bench.
Just curious.
Why are you yelling, Chelsea? Stop yelling at me. I feel like you're angry tonight.
Or drinking.
I was talking to Chelsea. She's yelling. Can you tell Chelsea to calm down?
Calm down.
All right.
So come here on camera. So Chelsea, relax.
Chelsea, relax.
It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, she's got to go to bed in 4 minutes. Who lasts the longest in a prison fight from the BCJ staff? Why is it Aaron? He refuses to die.
I'm out on a prison fight. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
I mean, I'd file a toothbrush down. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
When in Rome. Rapid fire. Chad, this means 1 or 2 words. Jamaica or Bahamas?
I don't play by your rules, Skins. This is my show.
Jamaica or Bahamas?
Jamaica.
I knew you would pick that. I'd take the Bahamas. I've never been to Jamaica, so I don't know.
I've
Mustache.
never been to the Bahamas. I've been to
Fair
Jamaica.
enough. Mustache or soul patch? I look terrible with a mustache. The only way that I can grow it is when it actually grows out like this, and even then it looks patchy. So I'd go soul patch.
I would probably go soul patch as well.
Skinamax or HBO at night? Skinamax, 1,000%.
Not even close.
Not close. Follow-up question. Would you rather live in the transfer portal threat at its peak toxicity or Kabul during the Afghan war?
Oh, God.
I would take my chances with the Afghan war because that would at least be interesting to me.
I'll go transfer portal because I just guess that there's not the very real possibility that you take one wrong step and your legs get blown off.
Because it pays the bills. P.S. Aaron, I don't know what Caillou looks like. Can you put a pic up?
No,
go back
to
the happy hour from Friday. You can see that.
I deleted a stupid Caillou pic.
Who would each of you like to see the Bengals take with their first and second round picks?
No idea. I have no idea. I
do have an idea. If they can do it, I'm all for them doing a defensive draft this year. I'm totally okay with that if their first two picks are defensive because they've done so much to address the offensive line, both this year and even with the Jackson Carman pick last year. Plus, I don't know that they're done. I think that you can still pick up some either undrafted free agents or some veterans after the fact, after the draft's over at a discounted price. But I'm here for a cornerback in the first round if it's a guy that they like, or if they don't end up trading down and still getting a guy that they like. And edge, if I think the guy's name is Nick Benito.
Yeah.
If he's still there in the second round, as some people have him, I'm all for edge second round too. I mean, just with the injuries that they've had at edge, especially, I'm good on that.
I think corner, I would be good
at first round.
Yeah, you need to get a guy opposite Awuzie.
Eli Apple can't continue to be your fall too.
I'll never think highly of Eli Apple. I've seen him in action.
Maybe we have a Super Bowl victory. He was good down the stretch, but
he wasn't good in the Super Bowl.
Not in that particular stretch.
And boy, if OBJ didn't get hurt, he was getting spanked.
Still, the regular season I think was an Eli Apple comeback tour. I will say that. So it's not me just shitting on Eli Apple, but what is your favorite episode of The Simpsons?
Oh man, the one with Dan Hort in it. Duh.
I am not a Simpsons guy.
I mean, I watched a long time ago. Like,
I never really. I was not allowed as a child to watch The Simpsons. If I'm being honest,
I was. Well, I mean, I was almost old. Like, yeah. But there's an episode of The Simpsons with Dan Hort in it.
Yeah,
that's my favorite episode.
Well played. But I wasn't really allowed to watch, so I didn't really watch, and I never got into it because it was already so far in the rear view, if you will. Like, I wasn't just going to pick it up in season 12 when I mean,
you could have. Like, it's not like The Simpsons had.
I know, but I still I just never had interest in it because I wasn't allowed to watch it, so I never really I'm going to go watch Simpsons. It was on after Sunday Night Football. I was like, maybe I'll hang on, maybe I won't.
Did you not watch Family Guy either?
Not a ton. Not a ton.
Oh boy.
I think I got through the first season and
South
a half.
Park. Chelsea, South Park. Did you watch South Park?
I got done with South Park.
All right. Then you redeemed yourself a little bit.
That's fine. Quiz for Chad. Which wrestler is pictured here? And this is the last question. And I feel like this is the perfect time to drop this last question. I don't know who this is.
No idea. Caillou's bastard uncle? It looks like Jimmy Hart. It looks like Mouth of the South Jimmy Hart is his manager.
What was the British commissioner at one point? What was his name?
William Regal. But this is way before that.
I don't know, man. But that's wildly uncomfortable, and we're losing.
Adrian Adonis. Ken Dog says Adrian Adonis. Okay. I recognize the mouth of the South.
You were comparing Jack Dingle to that body?
Right, yeah. I'll take Jack Dingle.
That's the mailbag.
That's the show. We're done. Let's get the hell out of here.
Brent's
not here to write a recap, so I'm going to need you to write a recap.
Thank you to Brent for even joining us. Let's just say that. We do appreciate
from the Orlando airport.
From the Orlando airport. Shout out to Brady Collins for giving us his time as always. We do appreciate it. But that all said, this was another episode of Bearcat Bounce Podcast brought to you by the Danco transmission in Fairfield near
Jungle Gyms.
Jungle Gyms, thank you.
And also
Urban Artifact.
And I'll switch my audio over before we do the nightcap.
Very good. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
But for Brent Young, for Chad Brendel, I'm Aaron Smith. See ya!